This might be my very favorite segment of From Print to Podcast ever, because today we're talking about one of my self-proclaimed specialties, desserts. I'm even wearing my favorite pastry-themed shirt to celebrate. To be fair, when I say I'm a dessert expert, it's far more in eating them than creating them, but who doesn't love a little slice of cake, right? If you're in Roanoke, you've probably heard of Evie's Bistro and Bakery, where sweet dreams really do come true. From luscious cream puffs to award-winning cakes, Evie's has been a staple in our community for over 30 years. But recently, the bakery has gone through a huge transformation, so we're here today to talk all about it. Joining me today is the one and only Amelia Ammann, who has not only stepped up to run the bakery, but also added her own creative flair to the menu and their social media pages. From delicious Zodiac-inspired cakes to the famous Dragon Tooth sandwich, Amelia and her team are baking up some serious magic. Hi, Amelia. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thrilled to have you. I feel like I know you all through your social media posts, truly, which is, I know, sort of weird and stalkery to say, but still.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's why we do it.
Perfect. So let's kick off things with the best topic ever, desserts. Oh my gosh, literally my favorite topic ever. So when I first moved here in 2012, my best friend, who is from Roanoke and also a vegetarian, she took me to Evie's. That was like the first place I ever went when we moved here. For real. Wow. And I still remember my very first order, which was the Dragon Tooth sandwich. And so while that was absolutely delicious, I very specifically remember the next and last bite, which was splitting a slice of the Better Than Sex cake. And I'm pretty sure I still dream about that first taste. So you're surrounded by amazing cakes and sweets every single day. And I have to ask, as a baker, as somebody who's in it up to your elbows every day, what is your favorite dessert at Evie's that you could not live without?
Okay, so my favorite dessert that we have consistently, because we have some specials that are going on. So, but the consistent favorite at Evie's is the coconut cake.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, that might not be the one that I've actually tried because I'm always too busy. My husband loves the Marie Antoinette cake, and I'm always getting the Boston cream.
Boston cream's a good one.
It's my very favorite.
It's a good one. Okay. It's a good one.
Even over COVID, we were getting cake delivered to the house. Like, just cake. No quesadillas, no nothing. Just the cake. That's how good it was.
That is amazing.
So I know you've recently, maybe not recently, but you've taken the reins over at Evie's Bistro and Bakery as sort of a whirlwind of changes, and curious about, what's that been like for you so far?
I think I will say that it's worse than it is because...
Because being a business owner is wild every single day.
Yeah. But, and it's definitely trying. It's not easy. It's not an easy profession to be in. Yeah. It's not. It's challenging. But I'm having fun with it.
Yeah? It looks like it on your social media pages, at least.
Well, and that's a huge source of joy for the whole staff.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, did you ever see yourself leading the way the way that you've been?
In the bakery?
Yeah.
In the restaurant? No. I got out of the restaurant business when I was 30. So I grew up in it and stayed in it until I was 30, and 30 was like, okay, I need out. Right. I just so burnt out. I was so burnt out.
Yeah.
And so that was a big shift, and I left it behind and kind of went off and did other things. Mm-hmm. So me coming back into the family business was not on the radar.
Right. And for listeners or readers who might not, know why that happened, do you mind explaining sort of how you got kind of looped back in?
Yeah, absolutely. Last December, my mom was diagnosed with leukemia. Mm-hmm. And it was leukemia attacks really, really fast. So it was like she found out one day, the same day I was in the restaurant. So it was just, she couldn't do it anymore. So I stepped in.
Yeah, that's a lot of responsibility to take on in general, but especially if you're dealing with sort of that on, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so going back into the really good, the sweet stuff, as we might say, Evie's has earned quite a reputation over the years. Again, over 30 years. This is not, something that's just been kind of hanging around. You have been making an impact on the community for 30 plus years. And so your team just took home the platinum wins for Best Special Occasion Cakes and Best Desserts in the Roanoker's 2025 Dining Awards. And so wanted to know, what does that recognition mean to you and to the team that, you're behind all these incredible creations and readers are recognizing that?
It just feels so good. It feels so good and so rewarding, and definitely something I wanted to do for the staff and for the family legacy, to bring attention to it, because she's been doing it for 33 years, but she really didn't promote it the way that we're promoting it now. Right. So it feels really, really, really good for it to be received, for us to be able to do the social media and put it out there, and then for people to come in and really enjoy it. It's just awesome.
You might win Best Social Media Instagram Handle when we do that for the Best of Roanoke Awards.
Yay!
based on like how just creative it is and active you are. And so we'll get into that in just a minute because I really want to talk about that. But so we're talking about, you mentioned the coconut cake is your favorite staple. When it comes to specialty cakes or desserts in general, because I love a cream puff, I have eaten your brownies, I've had everything in your case. But what's your favorite sort of seasonal or special treat so far?
Okay.
I know it's tough.
Okay. So I know we're going to probably get into like talking about the Zodiac cakes in a minute.
It's a perfect transition to my next question.
Okay, perfect. So we've been doing a lot of new things that we haven't done before. So there's some Zodiac cakes that I just love. I'm a Cancer sun myself. So the Cancer cake was obviously very, very special to me.
And what were the flavors in that one?
It was a tres leche.
Okay.
So it was an individual tres leche. So it came in this like really adorable little
Super
golden,
cute.
golden aluminum tin. And so kind of a traditional tres leche, really wet. So it has the consistency of like a cream or a bread pudding. And with the cinnamon. And then we put our homemade strawberry sauce on top and then fresh whipped cream. And I ate one every single day.
I'm going to need cake after you leave this office. Oh my gosh.
It was so good. It was so good. But then there's more. Yes.
No, there's tons of more. And so let's talk about the Zodiac cakes, actually, because they are super unique. I love that you get to sort of change it up every single month. Can you tell us more about, how did this start? Was it a love of astrology and tarot that led to these creations?
For sure.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I have a business called Canary in the Cosmos, and I read astrological charts and tarot. And it's a lifelong passion. I've been doing it since I was 12. And so when all of this happened, I still needed to be myself.
Of course.
Right? And so that was a way that I could bring myself into the business. Also something just really fun for me to do. And it turned out to just be a really kind of popular and fun thing that people really like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who doesn't love to celebrate their birthday in some way? So that's really special.
Yeah.
Your mom must be so proud of you for not only taking the reins the way you have, but sort of making it your own in a certain way too.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, that must be wonderful. And so let's talk about what's the most popular Zodiac cake so far?
Okay. It's so easy. It's wild. It's
Really?
wild. Yes. Hands down the Taurus cake.
Really? Okay. So tell me about those flavors.
Down. Okay. So the Taurus cake was our Better Than Sex cake, which is our devil's food chocolate cake with chocolate chips and sour cream added to the batter. So it makes it all like brownie meets cake, like so good. So that was the sponge that we used, and then in between the layers was a cookie butter.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Can we go backwards in time so I can have that?
Oh my gosh. So it's cookie butter in between the layers, and then a cinnamon buttercream, a cookie butter drip on top, and then chocolate ganache rosettes.
I don't want to be rude, but shut up. Oh my gosh. That sounds awesome.
It was really good. But the craziest thing, the most interesting thing about that to me is Tauruses are notorious for loving food.
Okay.
So it's really fun to watch all of that play out,
and that's
too.
so funny. That's your highest seller right now.
Isn't it unbelievable? But this very close second was the Virgo cake, another earth sign. So,
what was in the Virgo cake?
Oh, the Virgo cake. The Virgo cake I'm actually bringing back for Christmas.
Oh, are you? Okay, well, I don't know how it can be better than cookie butter between. Anyway, okay, tell me more.
I think it was better. I personally,
a big statement from the creators.
So it's a raspberry chiffon layer cake, so with fresh raspberries in the batter. So just the crumb is amazing, kind of melts in your mouth. And then our homemade raspberry sauce in between the layers. And then also in between the layers and iced around it, pistachio cream cheese frosting.
Yummy.
So good.
Sounds super delicious.
Good. And it's perfect for Christmas because it's green on the outside, and you open it, you cut it open, and it's like this bright red.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so looking ahead, and I am asking purely for selfish reasons, have you thought at all about the flavor future for a March Aries cake? Have you gotten to that point yet?
Yes. Okay, so we started in March.
Okay.
And this is actually, I want to get a little bit of your feedback, actually.
Yeah, I was too busy eating the Boston cream, sorry.
Well, yeah, and it was the first month that we did it, so it didn't have any traction yet, which is a shame. But we'll do it again next year, so that's
tell
great.
me more.
So last year's Aries cake was a choco flan.
Yum.
So our Better Than Sex cake on the bottom, and then the flan on top. So it's a kind of traditional and Hispanic traditions.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool cake. The reason I chose it for Aries, because it's almost like alchemy in a way, because you mix all of the ingredients together, and it's not until you put it into the oven that they separate.
Huh.
So the flan rises to the top and the chocolate cake is at the bottom.
Yum.
So it's like this magical thing that I thought would be great for Aries because Aries are the trailblazers. So this new take on cake. You know what I mean?
I love the way that your thoughts have like gone into this so extravagantly because that's a really like specific detail that unless you're familiar with tarot and astrology and that like Aries are known for like red and taking charge, but like that kind of detail is really cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's fun. Like, and it's delicious. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to try
Obviously, I can't wait to try that. Like, I'm sorry, she's going to slip on the pile of drool that's happening outside the office. But anyway, so thank you for that sneak peek or the back because I can't wait to try that for sure. Any other, like, I know we're talking about seasonal. So again, this is our November episode. So any seasonal treats that you're thinking about coming up as the holidays approach? Special other than what you already do that's so like a massive list of choosings.
Yes. So right now we're in our fall season. So we've got our fall seasonals, which they're great. I love them. We're doing a chai pumpkin cream cake.
Well, you got to do pumpkin. You have to, right?
Like, for all the pumpkin heads.
Of course.
There's a lot of them. So we got that one, which is delicious, and it's going over really, really well. Then we're doing another individual tres leche, a cookie butter tres leche, because the cinnamon. Oh my gosh! Right, yeah. So it's
perfect.
Yeah, soaked in cookie butter and the 3 milks, and then fresh whipped cream and cinnamon on top.
Yeah.
And then an old classic favorite that we do every year around this time, which is our pumpkin bars. So it's a pumpkin cream cheese bar.
Makes sense. That's perfect. Perfect for pumpkin heads. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and I love the brownies that you do. I've tried probably all of them, I think. The peanut butter is just ridiculous. I mean, the mint, my husband does not like chocolate and mint, but I do. So I know I get it all to myself when I get that. And that's always super fun. He loves the raspberry one too, though. So that's always good, which I love because the thing is we're talking about seasonals, we're talking about specials, but I know I cannot go into Evie's and get anything without ending it with a dessert. Like that's impossible. Why would you even bother going to a meal if you can't have dessert afterwards?
Exactly.
That's how I live my life. So, but I love when you go in. And so let's talk about the menu for a second because we're talking about desserts, obviously, but I love the menu too. Again, I've had the dragon tooth. I can't go in there and not get the California queso. Yeah. Like I love that. But like, tell me about the menu in terms of, because you are doing some, you're adding new things and you're flipping things seasonally. Tell me a little bit about the creation behind that, how that works with you and your team.
Of how I get them to make these things?
Yeah, just how do you create something new? Because obviously, you've been around for 30 plus years, and so there are staples or something somebody's always going to want to come in and eat, but then you want to introduce new things. So for example, we used to come in, oh my gosh, we were in there like every other day for the summer, and my husband would get the hot dogs, right? He loved them. And then he was so excited when they were fully on the menu all year round. He was so like, I don't have to be watching baseball to eat these. This is great. And I love the quesadilla, so I loved when you added the new one with the jalapeno and the avocado. Yeah. That was delicious. Yeah. But like, how do you come up with new menu items, really? You just think about, you have to get inspired.
Yeah, we have to get inspired. And I've brought on some new stuff that we just started making when I took on. And I think that's kind of a twofold question because it took me a little bit like just learning how to work with the staff and finding the staff that we needed.
Sure, yeah.
So once that kind of fell in line, you just kind of learn how each other work and you kind of see what they're capable of, also what they like to do.
Yeah.
So then kind of going in and talking about it and then kind of just creating these things and then also, I don't know, getting inspiration from like what's trending.
Sure.
Honestly,
yeah. Well, and that's interesting because you're not only creating your own trends on social media, but sometimes you'll jump on something that is, you're seeing everywhere on Instagram or whatever, and you're making it your own and to some degree. I love that you're playing to your staff's strengths too. And I also love that you're incorporating your staff into your social. Like I met your chef the other day on Instagram, and I thought that was great that, it's you are the face of it, but it's not just you, it's your whole team.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love that you're bringing people in.
They do it all. I mean, I'm so proud of my staff. I never thought that, like last January, I never thought that I would be able to work cohesively with this group of people.
Yeah.
But we worked at it and we've gotten to a point where it's a really great little family. I mean, we have problems just like any family does.
Yep.
But it feels really good. I really, really like the family feel. And I think social media has actually played a big part in that.
Oh, yeah? How so?
I think it's team building.
Nice.
People get excited about it. We're all working together on kind of like this fun thing. And then we see the result.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
I think not all of my staff. There's definitely people on the staff who do prefer not to be filmed, and we
And that's
respect
okay.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But for the most part, people get really excited. We film on Wednesdays, so people are excited on Wednesdays. They're excited to see what we do and to have a part and to have a say in that too.
Do they ever run to you and be like, I saw this trend on Instagram. Time. We have to do this. Yeah, jumping on it.
Yeah, we have an idea box, actually.
Love it.
Yeah, so everybody puts their ideas in there, and we've got like an age range too. So it's
idea.
Good. It's balanced.
I was curious about how you decide, like, we're going to do, okay, so Wednesdays. I love to know that you're filming on Wednesdays. Like, how do you decide what to do that week? Is it like a vote, like a democratic vote? Or do you just say, I really love this idea, let's run with this one this week? Or like, how do you choose?
It's definitely not a vote. Definitely not
Fair.
A vote.
All right. That's all right.
But the process is fun. It's social media. Our social media manager is my best friend. Her name is Rachel. And we just have a really great time being creative together. Not that we come up with all of these ideas on our own.
Sure.
But like I said, scrolling and you see what's going on, the new trends. And the new trends are just fun to do.
Yeah.
They're
fun. Well, I mean, you're implementing them. So certainly there's a lot of work that goes into that too.
Yeah.
It's not just the brainstorming and creation that you got to do it, film it, produce it, publish it, promote it. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There is, for sure.
Yeah.
And then making it your own.
Yeah. So it's awesome that you have help with that too.
Yes. And it's so fun because it's just fun.
Yeah.
You know,
you look like you're having fun. I got to be real honest. Man, they look like they're having a really good time over there.
Yeah, we do. We do.
I think that would probably lend to the aspect of if I, as a customer, a diner, want to come in, I know it's going to be fun there. You know, like it's going to be a good time and it's going to feel good. And
that's the goal.
That's the goal. And it's immediate when you walk in. There's bright colors. There's interesting things on the walls. There's always something to look at besides the pastry case, although that is where I always go. But it's very homey in a way that I don't know if another restaurant in town has it that way. You know.
Wow.
I mean, I love the art on the walls, and the fact that you're clearly supporting local artisans in whatever way you can is really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
I'm not sucking up just to get cake, I promise. So let's
it's
talk.
working if it is.
Perfect. Well, let's talk a little bit again about your staff, because you've mentioned, and obviously it's got to be true, running a bakery and bistro is incredibly hard work, a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles. Running a restaurant is not for the faint of heart. I mean, obviously. And so your incredible team, your bakerinas, they help you keep the magic alive in the kitchen. And I love seeing them on your Insta. I love seeing like all this team come together. I love seeing it when I'm in the restaurant too. Like you can see the servers helping each other and making sure everybody's taken care of. I mean, you have to give them a lot of credit for everything they're doing.
I give them all the credit. They're amazing. They are absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I mean, that's just really, it's really inspiring to see a team come together the way that it has, especially in the terms of with the transition of you taking over. That could have been pretty shaky, and maybe it was at first, but we don't see that, right? Like we don't know that, but obviously you're trying to overcome, a lot all at once. And so 10 months later, I'd say it's been pretty successful.
Gosh. Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Kudos to them, man.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they're great. And so, again, kind of thinking about I get to see them on Instagram. I get to see them on social media. It's fun. It's quirky posts. You're jumping on trends. You're creating your own. Let's talk more about reaching these dessert lovers, because it's so fascinating to me. Do you have people coming in who just say, I saw your cake on Instagram and I had to come in and try it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I love that. I mean,
yeah, it's so cool.
Your marketing's working.
Isn't it wild? Yeah, that's just like it's like, wow. You don't realize it because you're making it and then you're seeing it on your own screen. But when people come in and they're like, I got to try the Libra cake. I saw it. And, it's not really anywhere else except for on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like, you can see that directly. It's like, this is cool.
Yeah, that's what they call ROI. That's pretty direct, specific ROI.
Yes. Yes.
Well, and how do you, it's so funny because, again, to watch it, I feel like I know you. She literally walked in and introduced herself, and I was like, I know you. It's been,
so cool.
I've known you for months. But what's been your favorite, or maybe one of your favorite things that you've done so far on these viral trends, or creating your own too? Again, besides the Zodiac cakes, that's like its own special asterisk.
Right.
That gets its own category.
Like the favorite little project that we've done.
Yeah, whether you've been in the video or you're helping create it, whatever you think.
We did, Rachel and I, we did this one that was just really fun to do. It took us like 10 hours, I think. But we did, you know, the theme song to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Who doesn't? Come on.
Right.
Please.
So we like rewrote it about cream puffs and then like recorded ourselves. And then I was just like doing all this crazy stuff, acting it out. And we did it all on a Sunday and like from sunrise to sunset basically. And we had the best time.
But I love that you are excited to go to work knowing it's going to be a fun day because you get to hang out with your friends and like put together. It's not just a feeling of work.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it makes it fun. It makes it fun to sell cream puffs.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'll eat cream puffs all day, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, they're not very hard to sell. That has been fun. You put cream puffs on Instagram, and it's like they will go viral.
Well, yeah.
People love the cream puffs.
I mean, who doesn't? You're crazy if you don't. Actually, so let's talk about, you're talking about the Aries cake with the science behind the bake. You're talking to somebody who religiously every Friday watches the Great British Baking Show. And so I'm curious about, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the science behind it, like baking is such a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, I love to bake, I love to get into it, but then I get into a complicated recipe that's got like 15 ingredients. I'm like, I'm just going to go to Evie's. Never mind. I don't need to do that. But like, how do you deal with the science of baking? It's just such a big deal. Like, and because you have a very diverse and huge menu of desserts.
Yes,
like there's a lot of science that goes into that. Like you're mentioning the flan and the cake and how that splits. And that's so interesting to me to think about how that's going to pan out. Forgive the pun.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that is interesting. And I guess that kind of goes into like how we're building the astrology cakes or the specials, you know, and thinking about that. I have to give all of my credit, all of the credit that there is to the bakerinas. They're phenomenal. I'll come up with these wacky ideas. I don't know how to put it together. I'm not a cake decorator. That was mom's deal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I'm just like, and I give them to the bakerinas, and they're like, okay,
nice,
and they
they
know the science that I don't.
I hear the science, and like I tried to read a bunch of like baking books over Christmas break last year, and I was like, I don't understand what half of this means. I'm just gonna go get cake for these. And that's probably good because that's easier for me. But still, like there's so much to it. It's not just putting a bunch of ingredients together because if it's too much heat or if it's a little bit more flour or you add the oil at the wrong space, like the whole thing's messed up, right?
Totally. And so with our new desserts that we're coming up with, I learned kind of the hard way that it's very important to do trials.
Yeah. Well, and that was my next question. In terms of experimenting, let's say you're trying a new zodiac cake. Like how many samples do you think you try before this is it, this is the one? Like,
well, our bakers are so talented that they usually get it on the first try.
Talent.
I know. Our bakerinas have been with us for like 9-10 years.
Which I love that though.
It's amazing.
I mean, that means they love to do it. They love where they're at. They really appreciate who they work with and for. Like that's a really good statement.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I just, I can make chocolate chip cookies 5 times in a row and they're not going to be the same. No batch is going to be exactly the same. Heck, no tray is going to be the same between, batches. Yeah. Like, it's just wild to me. Like, a little bit of heat or too much butter, and it's a totally different cookie.
I know it. Baking is finicky.
So in your spare time, are you watching cooking or baking reality shows?
That's so funny. It's so funny that you mentioned the Great British Baking Show because right when my mom got sick and I took on the restaurant, I was like, all right, well, I got to brush up here. So I binge watched it and I loved it.
I love that show so much.
I love that show. I heard there's a new season on Netflix.
We're on episode 4 tonight, I think. Well, sorry, this is the November episode, so we're almost done. We're filming this episode a little before that. So right now it is on every Friday. I'm right there at night. This is my ritual, I gotta watch it.
I gotta see it. I love that show. And I get a lot of ideas from it.
I would think so, yeah. Because what I love, and so again, not to make this a Great British Baking series, but I love that they're changing it up. And so no matter the season, even if it's a bread episode, there's always a different bread than it was the previous year. Or
cool.
And so it's very interesting to me to see like how they pick things. So that's why I ask, like, I want to pick your brain. Like, how do you decide the flavors you're going to have that month? Or how do you decide that you're going to make this bread versus that bread? And you make your bread in-house, do you not? Because that bread is delicious.
Yes.
Yeah. On the Dragon's Tooth sandwich?
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Ridiculous. So good. Okay. So any other baking shows that you would recommend to people? I don't know if you've gone through. There's so many of them. Okay.
That's the only one that I've watched.
That's fair. That's all right. That's the only one you need because it's so nice and sweet.
Yeah. I think like back when I was in the restaurant industry, I would like watch like cooking shows, but I just like don't anymore.
Yeah, because you go into like all the apps and there's all these dessert shows now, which is interesting. I think they were probably inspired by a Great British Baking Show.
Yeah, totally.
But, you've got the competitions and all that, and like that's a little stressful because American cooking competitions are way more stressful than the British version.
Isn't it wild?
A lot of people yelling at each other and getting angry, and then the British people are like, their biggest stress is dropping an egg on the floor. I'm like, I want to go hang out with them.
Yeah, totally.
Real bad. Okay, enough of my fandom. So let's talk about, again, kind of roping into your socials, roping into 30 plus years. It's not, Evie's isn't just about desserts. It's also about community, which I think is pretty impactful. You've been at that space for a long time on 4th Street, which, you're a neighborhood joint, right? Like,
absolutely.
People know to walk there. They know where you are, or they know to travel to you. And so with all the support that you have received from customers, not just our readers and our dining awards, but how does it feel when you see that full dining room and people showing up because of your family legacy, essentially?
Yeah. It feels really, really good. Really good. And it just happened today. We were super busy. So as I was walking out the door, the dining room was full, and I actually took a moment and I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is really, it feels really, really good. And it also feels scary.
Well, you're a restaurant owner now, so that seems about right.
That's always just going to be there, I think.
Seems appropriate from every other restaurant person I've ever talked to, so yeah.
It's like the dining room is full, and your immediate thought is, what could go wrong?
Yeah, oh my God, I got to get back in the kitchen.
You told me not to touch the table.
So in thinking about that community support, because you guys, obviously COVID affected everybody long term, and so kind of curious about... I don't want to say bounce back because I don't know if you were in a valley necessarily, but that's certainly a struggle and a challenge that, your mom and the staff and everybody had to overcome. And then you come in and you're kind of picking up where things have been left off. Like, that's a lot of work. Like, being a restaurant owner, tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that you might face. In your particular field of baking, too, I think is a little bit different versus a fine dining establishment.
Right. I think I have the perfect example. So... the ports on the East Coast closed for like not very long, right? A couple days.
Yeah.
But it's interesting what it's going to do to the supply chain. Maybe not today, but when they went on strike, I asked my food purveyor, like, how is this going to affect
the ripple
us?
effect for sure.
And he's like, okay, well, it'll probably affect you because you guys buy a lot of flour. You make a lot of cakes.
Yep,
Right. So he's like, it might not rise tomorrow, but it will happen because of the trickle effect.
Right.
So it's like things like that you kind of have to field and be aware of.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I asked him, I'm like, well, how can we get around that? You know what I mean? And
right.
he's like, well, when the prices start to rise, I'll let you know. And I was like, okay, great. Well, we've got, we've got this space to store it. So I'll just buy more than I'll stock up.
You're going to go through it.
Yeah.
You're going to use it. It's not going to just sit there.
Does that answer the question?
Absolutely. That's a great example because obviously, we're all kind of feeling that stress and strain of like higher prices. And so from a restaurant industry, it's just super fascinating and admirable to watch you guys sort of tackle this with aplomb and really figure out what works best for your business.
Right. Because COVID, things didn't really go back to normal after COVID.
Totally. Yeah.
Like it's different.
Yeah.
It was like getting supplies during COVID. My mom
I can't
went
imagine.
Through a lot to do it.
Can't imagine.
And like things are better now. It's running really smoothly, but it's not the same.
Right. And nothing is ever perfect. Nothing is ever perfect.
Right.
But I imagine, would you think, and this is sort of a jump, but do you think there's maybe more takeout or to-go orders and pickup than there was in the past, do you think? Based on your experience?
I think so. And seeing now, like before we didn't offer any kind of delivery service, and now we do DoorDash, and we do quite a bit with them.
Yeah. Well, I am guilty of just ordering cake, so
a lot of people are. A lot of people just DoorDash cakes.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame them, and
I don't blame them at all.
I'm part of the problem there. So.
I think it's adorable.
I love it though, and you guys seem to have your to-go really on lockdown. Like everything always shows up well and not flipped over, and the icing is still where it should be, and just so you know.
That is great to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And the other thing I wanted to ask you, so you guys do custom cakes too, because obviously we're sitting there on a Saturday, early afternoon, and you can see like the wedding folks coming in to get their cakes. Like you probably do a lot of business on custom cakes, right? Wedding or event or anniversary or whatever.
Okay. I'm glad we're talking about this.
Yeah.
We're not doing wedding cakes anymore.
Okay. All right.
I don't know how to do them. Evie knows how to do them.
Yeah.
I do not.
Okay.
They terrify me. From start to finish.
So you're not going to be on a reality wedding cake baking show? Got it.
That would be really fun to watch. But no. So that is just something that It's every time you do a wedding cake, it's the first time you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm not even the one doing it.
That's a very interesting point. It's the first time you're ever making that cake. Yeah.
Yep.
And I imagine again, I'm not a wedding baker, cake baker, but I can only imagine the details and the planning that would have to go into that maybe take away from other expertises and areas of what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and not only that, but all the different emotions that are also going into that cake from all the parties.
Yeah, no kidding.
And just we're not doing them anymore because I don't know how to do them. And if the decorator can't come in to get it done, do you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
It's
no, but that's good to know. But you're still doing like if I wanted a 40th birthday cake coming up in March, you could do that for me.
Absolutely.
Okay, good to know.
We would love to do that for you.
Perfect. Okay, good.
Yes.
And so is there anything that maybe we haven't covered that you want to chat about, news like that's important for listeners and readers to know about, other than coming to visit you, of course, and eating lots of cake? And it's a good thing if it's not, too. That's fine, too.
Well, I mean, Scorpio season is right around the corner.
Okay. What's in that cake? Or can you tell?
Oh,
Is it a surprise?
Well, I think this will come out during Scorpio season.
Okay. Yep. So, November. Yep.
Yes. So I am like over the moon excited about the Scorpio cake. I think it's going to be insane.
Okay.
It is.
It can't be more than cookie butter. Okay.
Oh, just you wait.
All right. All right. Give me the list.
So it's a sour cream sponge,
okay,
which gives the best crumb. It just like melts in your mouth. I love it. Passion fruit curd.
Yum.
Mascarpone cream. Oof. So in between the layers and a big thick layer on top.
Yum.
Naked cake.
Well, that'll be beautiful. Naked cakes are a big deal. Like I love it.
It's great for Scorpio. This cake will seduce you.
That's hysterical.
And with the passion fruit. Yeah.
How do you get that creative? Like, what makes you think passion fruit should go with this cake? Like, I'm so fascinated by this. I know I keep asking you about science and baking. But
well, it's just what my knowledge on, like, the signs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what they're all about.
Creative and, like, it's so wild to me that you could just look at an astrology sign and be like, that should be that cake. Like, what? How do you do that?
I don't know. It's so fun,
okay,
though.
Well, that's your own personal magic talent. Got it. Okay. So, Amelia, before we wrap up, we've talked about the seasonal goodies. We've talked about, how about holiday goodies after the fall? Any plans for that? You know, I know we're thinking about, like, holiday flavors, and you've talked about the chai pumpkin. Anything for the holiday season that you're particularly excited about?
Yes.
And you might still be planning, which is understandable. But
well, we do insane volume. I
believe it.
Volume over Christmas and Thanksgiving. So I'm not sure how much extra.
Yeah, that's fair.
That we want to like stretch ourselves with. Obviously, we'll still do our astrology cakes, pies. We do tons and tons and tons and tons of pies. Yeah. So and that's we have pies kind of all year round, but. We've got like pumpkin pie and pecan pie and some other specialty pies that we don't do.
Holidays are like the pie season.
Yeah, it's pie season. We're getting into pie season.
Which, to be fair, I like pie too, so that's not a problem for me.
Yeah, me too.
I think I've had the apple pie one year, and you put ice cream on it, and it was so good. Good. Oh man. Anyway,
we have a cookie butter cream pie this year too.
All right, once again, shut up. It's oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Everybody, sorry on the podcast for just screaming into the mic about cookie butter pie. Oh my gosh.
So good.
All right. Well, you'll have to beat me there. I'm first in line. So I'll see you guys later. Man, I can't. All right. Well, I'm just going to think about that for the rest of the day.
Yay.
So in terms of, I'm just so fascinated that, like, what's the flavor or what's a cake that you haven't baked yet that maybe you'd love to do? Maybe you haven't figured it out yet, or you're still kind of tweaking the fundamentals.
A banana pudding cake.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right. A lot of people are asking about it. Asking for it. It'd be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds delicious.
I know how we could do it. It's just one of those, I just got to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can't wait to test that one too. Cool. Okay. So lastly, for our bonus question, we ask all my guests. So if in the region, when you're not at the restaurant, when you're not dreaming, thinking, watching, talking about cake, where are you going, playing, eating in the region? This is a good place to shout out maybe some of your favorites, whether it's a mountain or a specific, place.
Yes. Well, we live in Roanoke. I one of the reasons I think that a lot of us live here is because it's so freaking beautiful, and we've got amazing access to all kinds of outdoor stuff within like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that is obviously that's huge. But I grew up in Roanoke, and I moved away for a long time, and I moved back to like this cool city.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's a nice way to look at it, though.
Yeah.
It's funny because a bunch of people who are from here are always like, I had to get out when I was a kid. And then they come back and they're like, what is this awesome place? Like, I had no idea whether it was because things have updated and changed or they were just a kid at the time and didn't realize necessarily that, like, Center in the Square has always been cool. They just update a bunch of stuff and, you know.
Yeah, but Roanoke is, it's just gotten cooler.
Yeah.
It has gotten cooler. And it's a really cool place to be.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really cool things happening right now. Like, my best friend Celeste just opened up Motel Studios.
Yes.
Which is such a cool space. It's so fun to be there, and you get to like be creative with your friends. It's awesome.
I love that they were. She was showing off not just like date night, right? Because that's obviously a good one, but like they were showing a video just I think earlier today on Instagram. Like the kids are learning how to put together ceramics, and I think that's so important because they get a chance to express themselves too. It's not just for adults or whatever. Anybody of any age can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's awesome.
Really fun. So like stuff like that is popping up all over the place. I mean, Golden Cactus is always doing cool things. You know, Hoot and Holler's coming up the end of the month. That's always awesome. There's just cool stuff going on right now here. And it's exciting. It's an exciting time to live here.
I'm so glad to hear that, especially from someone who's been here and lived somewhere else and then came back and now you find it even better than ever before.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Amelia, for joining us today. It was really a pleasure having you and talking about my very favorite topic. Yay. Desserts are the best.
Thanks for wearing your shirt.
Oh, anytime. We're going to take a picture before we leave so I can prove that I wore the pastry shirt. It's been so fun hearing about your journey, the amazing things happening. I am ready for some cake right now, immediately. At Evie's Bistro and Bakery. So for those of you craving a sweet fix, please make sure to head over to Evie's for some of the best desserts in Roanoke over on 4th Street. Get all the latest delicious updates on their website at eviesbistroandbakery.com and enjoy all the fun they're having on their social media pages at Evie's Bistro and Bakery. Thanks again for joining us on this episode and segment of From Print to Podcast. And of course, if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe for every episode. See the full list of your Dining Awards winners and even more about your favorite local restaurants in our latest issue on newsstands now or more over on our website at theroanoker.com.